The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
Incredible story. In Israel, 20 plus years ago, the Intifada, there was terrorism, suicide bombings, where these Palestinians, these Arabs, they perpetrated the most heinous, cruel things. They exploded buses with just the most innocent people, men, women, and children. And there's one person who they didn't know his whereabouts, 18-year-old young man. No one knew where he was. And they called an older man and they said, "We think that this may be your son, and we'd like you to please go to the morgue." The morgue is where all the dead bodies are, of course, and identify him so we know who he is. Because of the explosion, people's ID was lost, and they had no idea who really is who. And the man didn't hear from his son, so it could be that was his son that was in the morgue. No one should ever face such a tragedy and such suspense of having to go to a morgue and see if that's your son and identify your son. So with great strength and great faith, he went into the morgue and they said, the protocol is that we have paramedics go with you because in case you see it's your son, the horror and the shock, you could go into cardiac arrest. Right? Even if you're not a football player, right? It happens that people get into cardiac arrest, right? And maybe we should send the paramedics in to save your life in case you need it. And he says, "It's okay. Let me go in alone. Let me have my privacy." He goes in, and 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, time is passing, and he's not coming out. 2 hours. And they're petrified that maybe he died in there also. He saw it was his son, and he only had one child, his only child, and it's over. So finally somebody went in. They didn't want to interrupt his privacy, but they had to make sure he's okay. And they see he's sitting there, and he's alive, he's well. And the person asked him, "Is that your son?" And he said, "No." So why don't you come out? Why don't you get up? Leave. He said, "Well, it's not my son, but it's someone else's son. And if I leave, it means I'm relieved and I'm happy. But what about the other person's pain? How can I just leave when it's someone else's son?" Can you imagine such a person? He couldn't bring himself to leave because then he's acknowledging that's not my son, but it's someone else's son. Someone else then has a loss and has to cope with this tragedy, this crisis. And he doesn't want to feel the happiness, the relief, because he's feeling someone else's pain. Do we feel other people's pain? You have a friend that went on a date and they said no? You're going to call him, just be there? There's so many people out there that just need a shoulder to hug, to cry on. So many people going through different ups and downs. And sometimes we're just so focused on our own issues and problems and self-centered. I guarantee you the best way to get happy is by giving. It's by helping others, doing chesed, kindness.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org